The risk agriculture faces in developing countries. Two things distinguish food production from all other productive activities. First, every single person needs food each day and has a right to it. And second, it is hugely dependent on nature. There's two unique aspects, one political, the other natural, make food production highly vulnerable and different from any other business. At the same time, cultural values are highly entrenched in food and agricultural systems worldwide. Farmers everywhere face major risk, including extreme weather, long-term climate change, and price volatility in input and product markets. However, smallholder farmers in developing countries must in addition deal with adverse environments, both natural, in terms of soil quality, rainfall, etc., and human, in terms of infrastructure, financial systems, markets, knowledge, and technology. Counterintuitively, hunger is prevalent among many smallholder farmers in the developing world. Participants in the online debate argue that our biggest challenge is to address the underlying causes of the agricultural system's inability to ensure sufficient food for all, and they identified as drivers of this problem our dependency on fossil fuels and unsupportive government policies. On the question of mitigating the risk farmers face, most essayists called for greater state intervention. In his essay, Kamlo F. Nuange, president of the International Fund for Agricultural Development, argued that governments can significantly reduce risk for farmers by providing basic services like roads to get produce more efficiently to markets or water and food storage facilities to reduce losses. Sophia Murphy, senior advisor to the Institute of Agriculture and Trade Policy, suggested that the procurement and holding of stocks by governments can also help mitigate wild swings in food prices by alleviating uncertainties about market supply. Shenzhen Fan, Director General of the International Food Policy Research Institute, held up social safety nets and public welfare programs in Ethiopia, Brazil, and Mexico as valuable ways to address poverty among farming families and reduce their vulnerability to agricultural shocks. However, some commenters responded that cash transfers to poor families do not necessarily translate into increased food security, as these programs do not always strengthen food production or raise incomes. Regarding state subsidies for agriculture, Rukia Kabir, Executive Director of Bangladesh Narib Pragatish Sangha, commented in her essay that these have not compensated for the stranglehold exercised by private traders. In fact, studies show that 60% of beneficiaries of subsidies are not poor, but rich landowners and non-farmer traders. Nuanji Murphy and Fan argue that private risk management tools like private insurance, commodity futures markets, and rural finance can help small-scale producers mitigate risk and allow for investment in improvements. Warned that financial support schemes often encourage the adoption of high-input agricultural practices, which in the medium term may raise production costs beyond the value of their harvest. Murphy noted that when futures markets become excessively financialized, they can contribute to short-term price volatility, which increases farmers' food insecurity. Many participants and commenters emphasize that greater transparency in markets is needed to mitigate the impact of volatility and make evident whether adequate stocks and supplies are available. Others contended that agribusiness companies should be held responsible for paying for negative side effects. Many essayists mentioned climate change and its consequences for small-scale agriculture. Fenn explained that, in addition to reducing crop yields, climate change increases the magnitude and frequency of extreme weather events, which increase smallholder vulnerability. The growing unpredictability of weather patterns increase farmers' difficulty in managing weather-related risk. According to this author, one solution would be to develop crop varieties that are more resilient to new climate trends and extreme weather patterns. Accordingly, Pat Mooney, co-founder and executive director of the ETC Group, suggested that if we are to survive climate change, we must adopt policies that let peasants diversify the plant and animal species and varieties breeds that make up our menus. Some participating authors and commenters argued in favor of community-based and autonomous risk management strategies through collective action groups, cooperatives, and producers. Such groups enhance market opportunity for small-scale producers, reduce market costs, and synchronize buying and selling with seasonal price conditions. According to Murphy, collective action offer an important way for farmers to strengthen their political and economic bargaining power and to reduce their business risk. One commentator, Gail John, warned that collective action does not come as a free good. It takes time, effort, and money to organize, build trust, and to experiment. Others like Marcel Bernoge and Marcel Bucombe suggested that in order to apply what we already know, all stakeholders, including business, government, scientists, and civil society, must work together. Starting at the beginning of the value chain, some participants explained that market price volatility is often worsened by the presence of intermediary purchasers who, taking advantage of farmers' vulnerability, dictate prices. One commentator suggested farmers can gain greater control over prices and minimize price volatility by selling directly to consumers. Similarly, Shirley Bist, founder and advisor to the Institute of Himalayan Environmental Research and Education, India, wrote that community-supported agriculture, where consumers invest in local farmers by subscription and guarantee producers a fair price, is a risk-sharing model worth more attention. Direct food distribution systems not only encourage small-scale agriculture, but also give consumers more control over the food they consume, she wrote.